we doing, everyone? We're back again for another live episode of the Transatlantic Takedown. Megan, how are you?
I'm doing well. Still what's the word? Recovering
Yeah,
from our watch along from the Royal Rumble. That was the longest I've ever did a stream.
insane,
I mean,
wasn't it?
4 hours, 4+
Yeah,
hours. That was something, but I'm doing well. I'm doing good.
good, good. Yeah, I was fading away at the end of that myself, and took me a couple of days to recover. But luckily enough, we had a long weekend here in Ireland. We had the Monday off, so wasn't too bad. But I suppose we'll kick off there with the Royal Rumble itself and the
Hmm.
winners, as we know. Charlotte Flair and Jey Uso. It's been a bit of a backlash online, and I suppose the whole internet wrestling community about Jey Uso. Um, bit unfair, do you think? Bit unwarranted. Some of the backlash.
Well, despite what people have said online, I felt like his reception on Monday Night Raw kind of spoke differently compared to how people was reacting online. Um, but despite what anybody say, this man has been in the company for 15 years. And
Hmm.
in my humble opinion, had Vince still been there, he would still be a tag team champion. I don't know if Vince ever saw him or his brother being a singles title holder. So Paul sees it. Triple H sees it. He sees it in him. And this is his time.
Yeah.
This is his time. This is his moment. He worked extremely hard
Hmm.
um to do what he loves, and he deserved that win. I mean, people say the same thing about Joe Hendry, but this is a man who believed in himself, made the crowd believe him,
Yeah.
and he appeared at the Royal Rumble with the TNA heavyweight title. So not only was he in the Royal Rumble, but he was in the Royal Rumble as the TNA heavyweight champion. Now, if that's not proof of working hard and believing in yourself despite what people may say about you, then I don't know what is. But
Mm.
I saw his promo, uh Jay, and he got very emotional, rightfully so. Um and I think he deserves all the praises that he gets.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been around for some time. I think the himself and Jimmy are nearly 40 or somewhere along.
Yes.
So they've paid their dues, as they say. They've been in the industry for quite some time. Um, I think in terms of merch sales, Jay is right up there, towards the very top. We know his entrance, how everybody gets involved in that.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so really, I guess the when you're there in the stadiums, that reception he gets is not really reflected online afterwards by people, you know.
No.
So it's a little bit strange, but there's talk of it's not he's not fit to main event a WrestleMania with Gunther, which I think is quite unfair also. And if anybody can get a great match out of him anyway, it will be the likes of Gunther, the ring general.
Uh, if I'm gonna be honest, I definitely enjoy Gunther's reign as the Intercontinental Champion than him as a heavyweight champion. His title reign has been uh less than subpar, if I'm gonna be honest. So, um, and this is not speaking on his talent or his ability as a wrestler. This is speaking on how they booked him or how the
Mhm.
fans are receptive of him as a heavyweight champion. But, you know, there's just there's just a time when you have to it's those that it's the ones that they feel isn't ready for it that is the most ready for it. And if there's anyone out of that family that is ready to be champion, it would be Jay. We didn't seen the whole build up between him and Roman,
Hmm.
stepping away from his family, becoming main event Jey Uso, holding the Intercontinental title um, from Braun Breaker, and then ultimately losing it back to Braun Breaker. Um, I mean, at if we listen to the naysayers, when will he be ready? You
Yeah.
know, when would be the right time to give him the title? You know, no one seems to question whether or not Tiffany was ready to be champion, and she's only been in the company for a cough and a sneeze. You know, this is a man who grew up in that company. His father is a part of, well, if you ask anybody, Rikishi is still very much a part of WWE.
Yeah.
Um, you know, his cousins and stuff like that. So, um, I think he's ready. He think he's ready. Triple H
Well,
think he's ready, and
yeah.
really, that's really all who matters. The people
But
who makes the decisions and the people who have to live with them. So, you know, it's just it comes to the point where you just want the fans to just enjoy the process. I guarantee you, you will be content with the results, but just enjoy the process of it because I think he'll make a great champion.
well, I guess we're gonna find out soon. I think it's like 10 weeks away now, WrestleMania. So we will find out pretty soon what the plan is and what happens from there.
Yeah.
Um, but I suppose if we look at who won the women's Royal Rumble match, then it was Charlotte Flair, which was
Hmm.
no real surprise. But what may have been surprising was the reception she received on Monday Night Raw when she came out. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit strange.
Well, you know, um, maybe that's what was supposed to happen. You know, a lot of these websites did say that Charlotte was supposed to come back as a heel,
Mm,
and she's supposed to be this top girl. She's supposed to be this she is supposed to be reflecting her family's legacy, her father's legacy, and she's supposed to be a heel.
yeah,
I did feel like her trying to express the triumph of her coming back from a injury that could have ended her career, um not really reflecting on her divorce that we found out only the day of, or the
apparently,
day
yeah.
before, um that she also went through last year. um yeah, I feel like that this was supposed to happen. Like, she there's just some wrestlers that just fits the bill better as certain characters. Charlotte is definitely one of those who is such a better heel than a face. And if she does go up against Tiffany, if that's who she ultimately chooses to face at WrestleMania, right now Tiffany is a face. Everyone is
Mhm.
on her side, everyone is cheering for her, you know, everyone's on Tippy time. um, you know, they wanted her to take the title away from Nia. She ultimately successfully did. Um, I think that was what's supposed to happen. And right
Yeah,
now, all of the women champions, Rhea, Julia, and Tiffany, are all faces. Um, and it's
Lyra
always just been,
also. Yeah,
yes, and it's always just been a matter of good versus bad.
yeah.
So when
It's
you
one.
have Gunther, you have Jay, who is this underdog that no one believes should or would beat him. But they
Yeah,
felt the same way about Sammy. And Sammy was the one who ended Gunther's 666-day reign as champion. So Charlotte being booed, I think, was just a part of her story.
Yeah.
And as she said, you can love to hate me or you can hate to love me, but she's still the first and the only, and rightfully so.
Yeah. They were teasing Rhea Ripley and Charlotte once again. However, we did see a bit of an issue between Rhea and Io Sky afterwards. So there's a couple of stories kind of building there, and I suppose between now and WrestleMania we will see what happens. But I think any of those ladies being pitted together would be a pretty good watch anyway in terms of wrestling matches.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of repeat matches that I don't know if people necessarily want.
Mm.
Um,
Well, when is
honest,
Becky going to return? When is Jade Cargill going to return and start mixing it up in the women's
r-
division?
and this is what I'm saying, I mean, we have, like you said, a couple of weeks before WrestleMania. We have even shorter amount of weeks for Elimination Chamber, so they will all be rolling out these qualification matches
Yeah.
within the next. I'm positive we'll have one for Friday, um, but we do have Liv, who won, which it was like, okay, girl, like.
Yeah.
But Liv is one of those top women, so I expect her to be in the match, even though I don't expect her to win. Um, but maybe at some point, this is when one of those women will show up. Maybe this is when Jade or Becky will make a return. Maybe Alexa
Yeah.
Bliss will end up being in the match since she has now returned. Um,
Yeah, I
but
think some of those returns are imminent at this stage.
yeah,
So we a lot of people like ourselves were kind of hoping for maybe some of those returns at the Rumble. It didn't happen, but we got Alexa back, and that was
yes.
great to see. And she's signed a deal with the WWE for a few years now, I think. So we're gonna have lots to look forward to with her.
Yes, and I did read that although Jordan Grace has signed a what they consider a main roster
Mm.
um level contract, she will be starting her official WWE career in NXT, but it won't be too long before she does end up on the main roster. Um but Yeah, I'm not sure where it is that they're going with Rhea and EO, seeing as how EO did lose her chance at being in the Elimination Chambers match. And everyone knows whoever does win
Mhm.
gets to choose the other well, they don't get to choose, but they ultimately get the other champion,
Yeah.
which would be uh Rhea or Tiffany.
Yeah.
Whichever. But yeah.
Look, it
Um,
remains to be seen what way that goes. But if we switch our attention to the men at the moment, then we saw the whole, setup between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. Now, if we're led to believe it's true, Roman Reigns is supposed to be out of action for a while. He picked up an injury.
mhm.
Not sure whether that's true or false, but it was kind of heading, towards maybe the likes of a triple threat match between those guys, because there's a hell of a lot of hate there between them.
Yeah, well, that's what they claim is supposed to be set up for WrestleMania.
Mm,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I take what these websites say with a grain of salt because like I
yeah.
said, in my humble opinion, I do feel that they get fed a lot of peanuts
Well, there's
from
another
these
story
sources.
there about Drew McIntyre, and he's supposed to have gone off on one when he went backstage, because
Say
of, I
say
think
it.
it's like LA Knight maybe, or Penta. One of those guys pissed him off with trying to steal the limelight, and in the match itself. But I think that story kind of came from the likes of Dave Meltzer, and it's possibly bullshit too, you know.
I think it's just a part of the story. Drew
Mm.
did the same thing when it came down to Survivor Series 2023, the same night that CM Punk returned. I think it's just to help fuel the story. If Drew
Mm.
is reacting that way, it's not too far from the character that he portrays himself as. It's all a part of the story, you know. And if you believe anything that I believe, it's just a matter of you get these websites, you feed them a little story, they write about it, the fans eat it up because the fans is reading what's put on the website, and it, you know, feeds into the
Yeah.
character development. It's the same thing like with the Street Profits. The Street Profits appeared at Royal Rumble. They attacked Motor City Machine Gun and
Mhm.
DIY. You had Angelo walking around with crutches the whole
Yeah.
time. Had the websites writing about him being injured. He was walking around with crutches, and come to find out it was all for play. He was
Yeah.
never injured. In fact, he used those same crutches to attack the two tag teams during the PLE. So, you know, it's always going to stir up whether or not the stories is true when it comes down to the people that's writing these stories. They are never going to fully know what's true and what's not true. They're going to find out the same time as we do.
Yeah, well, it's generating clickbait and publicity, and which is, you know, never a bad thing for the WWE anyway. So, like you say, they can feed whatever they want to a lot of these online places, and you know, it generates traffic and so on, talking points and all that type of thing. At one stage, I thought Logan Paul was maybe going to win in some way. I was fearing that, but he's really hated, which I suppose is a reflection on him. You know, as he's doing kind of a job that he's there to do as well. He's generating a lot of heat from the crowd and so on. But
No, people just genuinely don't like him. They just genuinely don't like him. Like, he is just not a likable
bit of
person.
an obnoxious character.
Um,
Yeah,
no. But I give credit where credit is due. And the thing about Logan Paul is he knows how to fuel the hatred that he gets online to his benefit. He makes money off of it. And that's
hmm,
really genius when you think about it. He's not there to be liked. He's not there to be a fan favorite. He's there to make money. He's there to get under people's skin. He's there to, I guess, ultimately be a champion. Like, that is what Logan
yeah,
Paul is there to do. And he doesn't care how people feel about him, because at the end of the day, um, he just look at his bank account and he just say it's all worth it. So, um, you know, I don't personally care for the guy too much, but
no,
again, you know, you got
you
to
have to
give
admire what he's
credit.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and he's good at being hated or
Yeah, and he's
disliked.
going to be in the mix for some of the belts. There's so many belts in circulation now at this stage that he
Yeah,
will be in the mix.
they just better not give him no heavyweight title. Please don't. Like, please, please, please do not give him a heavyweight title. At least not now. You know, we have so many stories going on, and I would just be so upset if they were to like give a title shot to him, maybe like from Cody or something. Like, don't. If
Yeah,
that's a
well, they
plan,
did
cancel
they
the
did
plan.
last year. They gave him a shot out in the Middle East, but we knew the title wasn't going to change hands. But it was, you know, it was partially to do with Prime and all that kind of stuff as well. And it, you know,
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any danger of him picking up one of those titles in the near future. Hopefully not, anyway.
I mean, ultimately, that's the sad part about it is, well, depending on who sees it, the sad part about it is ultimately he will get that title. He
Yeah,
will. He will get it. Um, just it depends on how it's done and for how long.
yeah,
For
I
how
guess
long
so.
he'll have the title.
Yeah, but look, it is quite exciting. We're on the road to WrestleMania now, and everybody will be, I suppose, speculating on what we're going to see, what kind of matches we're going to see, and everything like that. So, it really is a good time in the wrestling calendar, and we have Elimination Chamber, of course, in a few weeks just before that as well. So,
Yeah.
lots and lots to look forward to. But I want to switch attention to another promotion at the moment, just
Mm.
for a few moments, because I want to get your take on all things AEW. There's a lot of chatter that their Grand Slam is on the 15th of February, I believe, in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was initially pitched as a pay per view, but they've kind of gone back on that, and it's just going to be a TV taping now at this stage. It looks like there's been a problem with ticket sales and all that. What's your take on what's going on there at the minute?
Um, well, to be honest, uh Grand Slam has always been a TV program.
Hmm.
Grand Slam is 3 shows. It's Dynamite, what was Rampage that has since been canceled, and Collision.
Yeah.
Um, Not quite sure how people assumed it was going to be a pay-per-view. Grand Slam has never been a pay-per-view. Um,
But
but I
was it
guess
not sold like that originally? Like as it was initially going to be in a big stadium, and then
for all 3 shows.
yeah, they scaled it back.
Yeah,
Then
it wasn't going to be, I don't think it was supposed to be one separate, I don't think it was supposed to be like one night.
hmm.
I think it's supposed to have been separate days. I
Grand
mean,
Slam,
that's
yeah, that's
how,
what you initially think anyway. It's a number of things, a number like so the number of shows. But yeah, it looks as though there's once again a lot of people pissed off that have gone to great expense in order to attend and everything, and it's kind of you know, Tony Khan has come out and said that, well, we never meant for it to be a pay per view in the first place. Now, once again, we're not shitting on AEW here. We're anything but. We really want them to succeed. It's great to have them and WWE side by side. And there is, there has been murmurs around AEW perhaps going to Prime, which you'd have Prime
yeah,
versus Netflix then in a way. So it's just really to discuss these things because a lot of people are angry in a way, and then a lot of interest is kind of being lost in the company as well, with some of the decisions that are being made.
right. Well, as I said, I'm on Tony's side when it
Mm.
comes down to this, because anybody who knows AEW knows that Grand Slam has never been a pay-per-view. Um, I think, unfortunately, though, maybe AEW went a little too, they, I think they expected their name to help fuel and fill the seats of the
Yeah.
bigger stadium. And I'm sure that they have a lot of eyes in different countries watching their shows. Now, does it show in the weekly numbers? No. But I do know they do have some international watchers because they have a lot of international stars within the company. But
Well, let me ask you: do you think that people are perhaps a little too hard on AEW,
I
and they're
think
too critical.
people spend a lot of time expecting AEW to be like WWE, and that's just not what you're going to get with AEW. You're just
Mm,
not. Um, Not to say that WWE has done right in the last 40 plus years that in their existence, they've done a lot of wrong.
oh yeah.
And when it comes down to AEW, even though I do speak on a lot of the things that I don't agree with, I do give them a lot of I give them a pass for a lot of things because the company is still under 10 years old. It's still a baby company.
Hmm.
But the things that they have achieved in that little bit of time should be praised. And yeah, you're bound to make a lot of mistakes. And I think when it came down to the pandemic, this is where AEW came up when WWE was on the decline, especially during just before that, just around the time of that pandemic era when
Hmm.
Vince just pretty much had WWE in a hamster wheel. It was just the same stuff over and over and over again. So when AEW came along, they were different. They was doing things kind of reminded what it was like before, and so everybody tuned in. But when things started picking up in WWE, I feel like AEW had a hard time catching up,
Hmm.
and now they're still trying to catch up. Um, but the difference with what I feel AEW should focus on more is the fact that they are different from WWE. That's your strength.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
power. The fact that you are different from WWE. And
Yeah. And they
I
have some fantastic stars. Like they have really good, talented wrestlers there.
it absolutely can. But and they absolutely do. But there's just some stuff that WWE does that works, and I feel AEW can take a page out of their book when it comes down to certain storylines and the building of that, um, certain matches, um, starting off small, going to small venues, and just you know building up in that sense. Getting familiar with the fans, maybe do more polls and Q&As and seeing what the fans want to see,
Yeah.
so that you can provide them things that will make them want to tune in every
Yeah.
week. Now, Collision came on the same night as the Royal Rumble, and like they said,
There was only ever
Collision,
going to be one winner there.
well, you know, um, yeah, I mean, Royal Rumble is one of the four staple PLEs for WWE. Everyone is
Yeah.
going to want to tune in. Royal Rumble has been built on surprise returns, one nighters, like
But
people
it's just the
want to
format
see who
of
comes
that
back.
whole type of match everybody enjoys because it's fast and furious, and you know how people get thrown out over the top rope. It's actually gone to the stage now where there's a lot of false um eliminations nearly in a way, like we saw with Penta. There was controversy, did his feet actually touch the floor and all that type of thing. But yeah, traditionally the Royal Rumble has been that. Even for the casual fans, they enjoy that format. um but yeah, maybe decisions need to be made like that. But when these events are on and when they're going head to head. But I guess AEW do have their set of loyal fans also, and
Yeah,
just but like I've said it before on other platforms and things, I do think they suffer in a way. Like their website, their social media is not on par with the WWE, and we know social media drives so much, especially nowadays with the wrestling and so on. That's yeah, like 9 times out of 10, I would see far more WWE content online than you will ever see AEW. Um, But having said that, a lot of the wrestlers in AEW, like some of the big stars, are very happy there. I know they're
Mhm.
possibly well paid, but they are quite happy there, and a lot of them have come out and said, they're quite happy to be there, and AEW is fantastic. I know they're getting paid by the company, but still, they seem to be happy. So I think they would all love to see it doing better, and we all would love to see it doing better.
Yeah. I mean, well, they I know a lot of the wrestlers are happy because they have the freedom to uh you know s- probably perform different ideas that they wanted to in
Express
WWE
themselves
that
kind of
wasn't
thing.
allowed and stuff like that. Yeah. Um what works for WWE is the fact that there's structure.
Mm,
There is structure there. Um they create the character for you. There is a certain role they want that character to have. They create the personality, the name, the look. Everything is WWE. Now, when you have AEW, yeah, you could come in with your own ideas, and sometimes those ideas work, and sometimes they clash with the other wrestlers. So when you see a lot of the pay-per-views, yes, some of the stories make sense because you followed the stories. Like one of my favorite feuds with AEW is definitely Hangman Adam Page and Swerve
mhm.
Strickland. It's such a generational feud. It reminds me of Stone Cold and The Rock, Triple H
Yeah,
and Stone Cold, Triple H and The Rock. Like if they picked it up right now, I'll be tuned in because that story was done
it's
right.
quite personal and
Yes.
resonates with a lot of people.
Yes. But then there's a lot of um what I feel like a lot of throwaway stories or you know, a lot of matches that just doesn't make sense. It just feels like they just needed a six match for the night or something. So they just said y'all gonna wrestle tonight. Don't
Yeah,
get me wrong, WWE does it too. They do it too. But
yeah,
it's way more frequent with AEW. And so if you miss an episode and you come back, you're bound to be confused because every week is something different for the most part, not for all of them, but for the most part. I just feel like Tony wants to wear all the hats and he
mhm,
wants to do everything. And sometimes it is okay to hire people that are good at their jobs and let them do their job.
yeah,
You be the top man, you sign the checks, you overlook the company, but when it comes down to the booking and the writing and stuff, allow somebody else to do it because I think there's fresh ideas that they need over there,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, I suppose it can come off as a bit disorganized, scattergun kind of approach, and even their pay-per-views, the cards are very, very, you know, heavily stacked, far too many matches perhaps, and there's not enough time and effort, given to each. So things like that. But look, they're still there. They're still putting on some good shows, and they still have a lot of talent there. So you never know. The future
No,
will be
but
bright.
I will say this. I've said it on my own podcast, and I will say it here for those that are watching. Um, AEW has a very small window to get things together. Right now, they are the second wrestling promotion. They come right after WWE. TNA is coming up, and it
Hmm.
has a lot to do with the partnership with WWE. If by some chance they decide that they want some of those main roster people appearing in TNA, like Seth Rollins, like CM Punk, like
Yeah.
a Drew McIntyre, someone of that stature showing up at TNA is going to be the number two.
Yeah.
So for those who uh for those who are watching who may or may not have can get into Tony's ear, tell them, yeah, shape up, because TNA is on the come up and you will get pushed down to number 3. I can
Yeah.
see
Well,
it happening now.
if you take the SmackDown, the Raw, the NXT roster, and we have another one starting, isn't it on Tubi?
Evolve.
Yeah. So we've all of this. Like, if they start shipping off some of those, up and coming talents to TNA to take part, like you say, then there is a real battle on their hands for AEW going forward.
Yeah, I mean they've been testing the waters with the TNA stars appearing on NXT. Last night we had um Fandango, who is now
Yeah.
known as JDC of the system in um TNA. Of course you had people like Joe, um Rosemary, Marsha Slamovich,
Yeah.
um the Rascals. Like, you have had quite a few TNA stars on NXT. I'm sure at some point you're going to see some of those TNA stars show up on the main roster. They're going to pop up one of these days. And yeah, that's really going to make people want to tune in to TNA. It's going to. They already started, what was it, 2 weeks ago? TNA was live for the first time in almost a decade. They got 2 more live shows this month, towards the end of this month.
That's right.
It's going to
Yeah.
be at Full Sail University, which is not too far from the Performance Center. So, they're already trying to merge the 2 companies together with
Yeah.
still keeping them separate. So, yeah,
I
like
can
I
see
said,
I can see a lot of interaction perhaps happening around Vegas for WrestleMania. We'd probably see a lot of TNA stars, at WrestleCon and in the surroundings there.
well, by we, you mean you, right?
Well, hopefully you as well, Megan, that you might make your way there. Luckily enough, I will be going, but it could be my last one for many years, with the way the ticket prices
The
and things
prices
are
are,
going.
yeah, well, I mean, that was one prediction. Of course, the next prediction that I had is that now that the tickets are going up, and TNA, I mean, not TNA, but TKO is now heavily involved. I feel like there's going to be a lot more bigger publications there. It might make it
Mm,
a tad bit harder for the smaller podcasters and the influencers,
this
or
is
maybe
it.
not the influencers, but the podcasters, the streamers, those of smaller publications, to get approved, because they want to make room for those that work for Sports Illustrated and Forbes and the bigger news outlets.
What do you
um
think, though, in the run up to WrestleMania, we should have some guests on here with us? Even some people from in or around the Vegas area that could give us some insight into some of the festivities going on at that time, and things that people could get involved in and so on. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, we definitely spoke about that off air, and um I think it would definitely be interesting, just to learn the true ins and outs of not only being in that area during that time of WrestleMania, but also just the ins and outs and the process of getting into those rooms,
Yeah,
interviewing these wrestlers.
definitely.
To just share what, you know like I said, how the process is. And I'm sure they're going to say it wasn't easy. I'm sure they're going to say that they got denied a few times. I mean, that just
Yeah.
comes with um, anything that you want to do that's new. You're not going to get it the first time, but I've I- I've seen a lot of familiar faces that has been in there multiple times. So I know as many times as I've seen them there was that many times or more where they was not approved, and that's the story that needs to come out.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting topic, and it's one that we should kind of look at, and like I say, have somebody on, or even someone from the area that can just give us some pointers on how to get the most out of a trip there. And look, Megan, if you could even make it there, and I'm sure there's if you didn't get to go to the WrestleMania events themselves, there is a lot of other events going on from some of the indie promotions, the likes of Progress and so
Yes,
on,
yes,
which would be really interesting.
yes, because today, MLW announced that they are having another show here in New York in June. So, of course, I will be at that one. And of course, we have the Fanatic Fest,
Yeah,
which will also be in June. Um,
brilliant.
also got SummerSlam, which will be within those couple of weeks. I would love to go to that. This
That's just across
SummerSlam,
the bridge for you, really.
yes,
SummerSlam.
yep, right in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Um, and it's a 2 day. It's 2 days. So I think they're gonna, like if I can't make it to WrestleMania, I won't be heartbroken. I could be home. I can excuse me. I can like I said, be home, make my little hot wings or whatever, have
yeah,
my candy, maybe a nice little adult beverage, adult
there you go.
drinks.
Nothing
And
like
yeah, and just be home and just enjoy it. But for those that is going to Vegas, I do want them to know that as always, just be safe,
yeah.
watch your surroundings, of course, have fun. But Vegas is a town just like New York or just like any other place. I mean, not just Vegas, but
It
you
is
just
the
want to
city
watch
of
your
sin, though.
surroundings.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Well, for me, it's just the fact, like once it was announced, it was in Vegas. I've never been there before, so it's kind
Mhm.
of I'm gonna take the time to experience other things outside of wrestling. Also, there's a lot of other things over there and that type of stuff. So should
Right.
be interesting. So yeah, watch this space in the coming weeks, and we'll definitely do something about all of that. I just want to say, for here in Ireland, we had a very successful local rumble in Dublin last weekend that I didn't get a chance to go to, but I'll be checking it out on the OTT on demand service this week when it goes up. That's worth having a look for anybody, really. They've all the stuff from through the years, where you'll see some of WWE's current stars when they used to work for OTT, and work some of those indie events, and
Mhm.
all the different special guests that they had. Scotty Too Hottie actually appeared the other night in
Oh,
Dublin. He was,
nice.
he was a surprise entrant as well, Scott Garland. So yeah, there was a lot of other stars there like PCO, Moose, and so on. Definitely worth checking out. And there's plenty more events then lined up from all the various Irish promotions, such as RCW, NW, NLW, and Fight Factory Pro, and Hard Knocks Pro Wrestling this weekend as well. So a lot of promotions doing their stuff over the next month and onwards. So definitely a lot to look forward to, as I'm sure over there is as well, with the indie promotions nearby where you are, Megan.
Um, yes, GCW does have a show coming up. I'm trying to remember the date. Is in New Jersey.
Mm.
It's sometime next week. That's for sure. I won't be attending that one, but I'll be looking forward watching it online. Uh, like I said, MLW announced that they are coming back to New York in June. Um, and as for House of Glory always have a show, but I have not seen anything as of late. But
Yeah,
I know within the next few weeks there will be another House of Glory show. So
brilliant.
yeah,
Definitely worth checking out and keeping an eye on. Anyway, look, everything, all roads lead towards WrestleMania at this stage, as we know. So, over the next few weeks and months, we're going to be seeing that the Elimination Chambers one to look forward to. We're keeping an eye on SmackDown this coming Friday, and I think, look, it's great that everyone's joined us once again. We're getting a lot of support, and it's fantastic. And I want to thank everybody that's
yes.
tuning in. And we will catch you probably around the same time again next week.
Yep. Same time, same place.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye.